Any other questions? Okay, if there's not any other questions.
Not a question, but a statement.
Okay.
So not only on the outer appearance, like you said, about the, the grill, but also which covers in the law about how we ended up here.
That's right. Prophecies.
Like you said, so we can go through Deuteronomy 28 and 4. And then I think a lot of people get it mixed up because they don't realize that we were scattered to the four corners of the world. So there's going to be some down in Africa, some in Europe, some in the Saudi Arabia. Because,
Right.
Most people don't know about that slave trade, which was actually worse.
Right.
Here, and I say worse because the men there was actually castrated.
That's right.
I mean, you castrated, you're producing nothing else.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So, I just want to add that little tidbit too. So it was like for me when I first read those curses, man, it was like the whole world was opening up to me. I'm like, oh my God, this is me right here.
Right. Right.
Everybody I know.
Hey, I mean, that's that.
Hey, we'll look at those prices in.
Deuteronomy 28.
Right.
I got one more question, but go ahead. Y'all need that.
No, go ahead. You got it.
Go ahead.
Alright, so we came under the captivity of the Japanese, the Chinese, East Indians, or the Gentiles, you said, with the Japanese, Chinese, East Indians, and then you said Africans. But is it only like some Africans, or could you explain that to me?
Yeah, when you look through the history of our people, we were in captivity under the Egyptians. The Egyptians were Africans. They were Hamites.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we were also in captivity under the Ethiopians. Back then, the Ethiopians was calling themselves Samaritans. They were calling themselves, some of them were called Assyrians. Not all of them, but some of them were being called Assyrians. When we went into Africa, we kind of separated ourselves when we went there, but some of us were being taken into captivity or being sold, you know, into captivity by Africans. Now, I'm not going to say all of us, but we had, when you read books, I got a lot of books. When you read books on how we dwelt in Africa, there was a separation between all the tribes. We dwelt in certain areas. And other tribes, yeah, some African Hamitic tribes who were cannibals. And we always had to be on guard against certain tribes like that, you know. So we built fortresses. If you look in Africa, they got temples in Africa, walls that keep people out, you know, in cities and stuff. We had all that. America doesn't like to show it, but there's castles in West Africa. There's all kinds of stuff in West Africa that we actually built. You know, Timbuktu is another place, but that's just one of many. But yeah, I got books that say how we were separated from all the other nations when we were in Africa. Okay, but when the white man showed up, what he did was he did what the Bloods and the Crips did. He started giving our enemies, the African tribes that we didn't care for, guns and weapons, because we always had gold, we always had silver. We always had our articles of records, our archives. We always had all that stuff. And because when we had that, other tribes, they were angry or jealous of us for having that stuff. So when the white man showed up, they went to war against us. The white man would get them guns, and he'd go jump back on the ships and let us war against each other. You know? Yeah, so that stuff happened. That stuff happened when we were in Africa. When you read, there's lots of books that talk about Africa having a, you know, because we did sell and buy amongst the Africans as well. We had trade amongst them. We didn't keep some of the customs as them, but there were some Hamitic tribes that were friendly towards us, where we had you know, a business affair. When you look at King David, he had a business affair with Haram. He was an African, a Hamite. When you look at when you look at Jacob, our forefather, who did he make a bond with? he made a bond with Shechem. That's who he make a bond with. He made a bond with Shechem. That's why our baby sister Dinah of the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 sons of Israel, Dinah was the one who got raped by Shechem's son. And because of that, Levi and the older son Simeon, they went and killed all of those men of the sons of Shechem. But prior to that, Jacob and Shechem were friends. When you read the scriptures, it tells you that when he took Dinah, our forefather Jacob talked to Shechem and said, "Okay, we'll make a bond with you." He said, "We'll make a bond with you. Every one of you guys get circumcised, and we'll be bonded with you guys." But the Most High put that spirit on Levi and Simeon to take them out. See, so when you look at our relationship with those nations, we dealt with them, but we didn't deal with them. You see? Yeah. So you gotta look at that too. So let me explain it a little further, because you got some brothers out there. If I put this video up, some brothers out there be like, "No, we didn't deal with them." Well, listen, when we dwelt in Africa, yes, we kept our boundaries. Okay, we kept our boundaries, but a lot of those African tribes, just like Jacob with Shechem, all right, just like King David with Haram, if we shared the same land area, if we had wells or mandrakes all in that land and we all shared the wells, okay, the thing is, if a drought ever hit, because there was always droughts and famines, okay, if a drought ever came, we would come together, come to a consensus, and dig for another well, and we would share that well. Okay, it's not that we intermingled in customs. We kept our customs to ourselves. But when it came to helping one another, like trade, we traded with them. They had things that we didn't have. We had things that they had, so or that they needed. Okay, so we traded back and forth. So there were certain tribes, African tribes within the land, which we had. Some of them were friends. We got to understand. Listen. The Africans, even though they dwelt in the land and we dwelt there, they allowed us to live there. Even though the Most High said that all of Canaan is ours, we still dealt with those people humbly, all right? And we had trade. Some of them were even our friends. You had some men of those nations who were very wise. So you shared information, you shared wisdom, just like today. It's no difference. The same stuff that we're doing with Esau, we share information. Esau shares information back. It was just the way things were. It's just that we had a standard. Do you understand? Our men and women dealt with each other, and their men and women dealt with each other. We had customs from our forefathers. They had customs from their forefathers. They were black. We were black. We had woolly hair. Their hair couldn't grow like our hair could. So, you had different things about us, but when it came to business, we dealt with each other in business. And it wasn't just hardcore business. We laughed, we smiled, we got angry, but we always came back and made a consensus. Do you understand? That's the thing about what we have to look. See, we read the Bible for the letter of the law. The Most High ain't got to put everything in the Bible, okay? You got to use your brain sometimes. All the time. You must use your brain and look between the lines, okay? A lot of people don't understand that. And they have to also understand that when the transatlantic slave trade took place, or we were scattered to the four corners of the earth, that was a spiritual thing. See? Our people don't even see that the Negroes were scattered, the Israelites were scattered based on spiritual prophecy, okay? And the spiritual prophecy eventually affected the physical as time went on. That's what a prophecy is, things that's going to come to pass. So that's where we ended up, okay? All right. Any other questions out there?
It was big business. Africans sold other Africans to the Europeans. Slavery was big business. Africans sold other Africans to the Europeans. Big business. Africans sold other Africans to the Europeans.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures, the word of the Lord of hosts, following the sheep, to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone, and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.